감사합니다.
Ladies and gentlemen, please be seated.
안녕하십니까. 더운 날씨에도 불구하고 65주년 6.25 전쟁 상경사에 참석해주신 참전용사 및 내외 귀빈 여러분께 감사드립니다. 원활한 행사 진행을 위해서 가지고 계신 휴대폰 전화는 꺼주시기 바랍니다.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. We are going to have the 65th Korean War commemorative ceremony in 10 minutes. At this time, please take a moment to silence or turn off your cell phones.
오늘 행사 진행에 대해서 간략히 말씀드리겠습니다.
Today's ceremony will be the commemoration ceremony taking place here at the memorial.
오늘 행사는 국방부관 신경수 소장의 인사 말씀에 이어 09시 30분부터 행사를 시작하겠습니다. 행사 순서는 군 기수단 입장, 국기에 대한 경례, 주미대사 기념사, 미 한국전 참전용사협회 회장의 회고사, 국방부 셰어차관보 격려사, 댄 설리반 미 상원의원 격려사 순으로 진행하겠습니다.
Before we begin the ceremony, Defense Attaché Major General Shin is going to give brief welcoming remarks on behalf of Republic of Korea Armed Forces. And then the ceremony will begin at 9:30, following the presentation of colors and salute to the flags. Then we'll welcome remarks from Ambassador Ho Young-an, President of Korean War Veterans Association, Mr. Larry Kennard, Assistant Secretary of Defense David Scheer, and Senator Dan Sullivan.
이후 헌화행사 순서는 첫 번째 한국 대표, 두 번째로 미국 대표, 세 번째는 UN 대표, 네 번째로 한미 참전용사 대표 및 참전국 대표 순으로 진행하겠습니다.
The proceeding wreath-laying ceremony will commence in the following order. First, the Republic of Korea. Second, the United States of America. Third, United Nations. Fourth, Korea and U.S. Korean War veterans. Then we'll proceed to the 20 participant nations in alphabetical order.
헌화 후에는 한국전 참전 희생자에 대한 경례 및 묵념이 있겠습니다.
At the end of the wreath-laying ceremony, we're going to salute to the fallen soldiers and take a moment of silence.
행사 종료 후에는 기념 촬영이 있으며 4개 그룹으로 나누어 진행하겠습니다. 첫 번째는 미국 대표, 두 번째는 참전국 대표단, 세 번째는 미국 참전용사, 네 번째는 한국 참전용사 순으로 촬영하겠습니다.
There will be a commemorative photo session afterwards. We'll call out the 4 groups separately for the photographs. The order will be as follows. First, the U.S. Department of Defense delegation and U.S. retired and active generals and admirals. Second, the representatives of the participant nations. Third, U.S. Korean War veterans and families. And finally, Korean-American Korean War veterans.
지금부터 주미 국방부관 신경수 소장의 환영 인사 말씀이 있겠습니다.
Now, Defense Attaché Major General Shin is going to give brief welcoming remarks on behalf of Republic of Korea Armed Forces. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Major General Kyung-soo Shin, the Defense Attaché of the Republic of Korea.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. I would like to express my sincere gratitude for your attendance today. During the Korean War, under the banner of noble cause, many soldiers from 21 UN nations have sacrificed their lives. I'd like to read at all the numbers who participated in the Korean War and suffered during the Korean War. First, Australia dispatched 6,407 troops and suffered 1,584 casualties. Belgium dispatched 3,498 troops and suffered 440 casualties. Canada dispatched 25,687 troops and suffered 1,557 casualties. Colombia dispatched 5,100 troops and suffered 639 casualties. Ethiopia dispatched 3,158 troops and suffered 657 casualties. France dispatched 3,421 troops and suffered 1,289 casualties. Greece dispatched 4,992 troops and suffered 738 casualties. India dispatched 90 troops and suffered 16 casualties. Luxembourg dispatched 83 troops and suffered 15 casualties. Netherlands dispatched 5,322 troops and suffered 768 casualties. New Zealand dispatched 3,794 troops and suffered 103 casualties. Norway dispatched 623 troops and suffered 3 casualties. Philippines dispatched 7,420 troops and suffered 398 casualties. South Africa dispatched 826 troops and suffered 43 casualties. Thailand dispatched 6,326 troops and suffered 1,273 casualties. Turkey dispatched 14,936 troops and suffered 3,216 casualties. The United Kingdom dispatched 58,000 troops and suffered 4,906 casualties. The United States of America dispatched 1,789,000 troops and suffered 137,250 casualties. Last but not least, Denmark, Italy, and Sweden provided medical units to Korea. The faithful devotion and the solemn sacrifice of 21 nations will always be at the core of Korea's past, present, and future. Once again, I would like to express my sincere appreciation to the 21 contributing nations who answered the call to safeguard democracy and freedom. Thank you. We go together.
신경수 장군님 환영 인사 말씀 감사드립니다. 그럼 지금부터 65주년 6.25 전쟁 상기 행사를 거행하겠습니다.
Thank you, Major General Shin, for your remarks. We will now begin the 65th Korean War commemorative ceremony.
22개 참전국 국기가 입장하겠습니다. 모두 일어서서 국기에 대한 예를 표해 주시기 바랍니다.
Ladies and gentlemen, please rise for the presentation of 22 national flags.
국기에 대한 경례가 있겠습니다. 기수단 구령에 맞추어 예를 표해 주시기 바랍니다. 경례 시에 한미 양국 국가가 연주되겠습니다.
We'll salute to the flags according to the order of Master of Ceremony. On behalf of the 22 nations, national anthems of Republic of Korea and the United States of America will be played.
내빈 여러분께서는 자리에 앉아주시기 바랍니다.
Ladies and gentlemen, please be seated.
Color, flag, ready, cut. Ceremonial at ease.
다음은 안호영 주미대사님의 기념사가 있겠습니다.
Ladies and gentlemen, it is an honor to introduce the Ambassador of the Republic of Korea, His Excellency Ho Young-an, for his remarks.
Well, this is a beautiful day. You would agree, right? Not only beautiful, I have to say, gloriously beautiful day. So custom made. Thank you so much. And thank you for being here with us this morning on such a gloriously beautiful day. So it is 65th anniversary of the outbreak of the Korean War. And this Korean War Memorial, it was inaugurated 20 years ago. So every year, this morning of June 25th, we gather here in front of the Korean War Memorial to commemorate the outbreak of the Korean War. So each year I ask this question to me. What is the meaning of this commemoration? I guess first and foremost, the meaning is to remember. So we remember millions of young soldiers who came from no less than 21 countries to help the country they didn't know, to help the people they had never met. We remember, then we remember this morning. We also remember hundreds of thousands of young soldiers who made ultimate sacrifice. And whenever I think of them, then I feel the full weight of this saying, which goes, freedom is not free. But at the same time, I also remember the long journey we have made together for the past 65 years, through which Korea developed this economy, Korea developed this political system, Korea found its place in the international community, none of which would have been possible without that noble sacrifice of hundreds of thousands of soldiers who came and fought in Korea. So this morning we remember them. But at the same time, I think there is one thing more we should be doing this morning, which is to reaffirm our resolution. We are resolved to continue our fight to guard our freedom. The Korean War, it was known as the first hot war of the Cold War. And we thought the Cold War was over in 1990 when the Berlin Wall came down. After 25 years, we know better. There are a large number of regimes, there are a large number of leaders, there are a large number of countries who continue to live in Cold War mentality. And one of them, very unfortunately, is North Korea. At the same time, we have to deal with new challenges which is coming to the fore. Insurgencies of all different kinds, terrorism of all different kinds, even new threats we never thought about 25 years ago, like cyber hacking. So we are resolved to continue our fight with the United States, with Thailand, with Luxembourg, with 21 countries to guard our freedom. We also must renew our resolution to continue to preserve the values which are so dear to us. What are the values? Freedom, democracy, and human dignity. We are resolved to guard them. But at the same time, as a representative of Korea, this is something I tell every day, which is we got so much from the international community. 65 years ago and even after that. We must pay back to the international community. There is another reaffirmation of the resolution I make every day, particularly in the morning of June 25th. So this is a morning for remembrance. This is a morning for resolution. But this, in fact, is a morning when I should be thanking all Korean War veterans, both from United States and from Korea. And then you are still young, you are still strong, and I'm pretty sure you will remain that way for a long time to come. Thank you so much. Before I conclude, there are so many dignitaries this morning, so I just wonder whom to recognize. But at the same time, there is an ambassador of Thailand, there is ambassador of Luxembourg. By the way, when I used to be ambassador in Brussels, I used to be accredited to the Grand Duchy of Luxembourg as well. So there are so many dignitaries. I wonder whom I should be recognizing. But let me try to recognize only 3 of the dignitaries this morning. We have Senator Dan Sullivan, and Senator Sullivan is a senator coming from Alaska. He's a member of Armed Services Committee. I have to say, very influential member of Armed Services Committee. But most importantly, he knows how important the relationship between Korea and United States is. So thank you so much, Senator Sullivan. And we have Ambassador Sher, who is Assistant Secretary of Defense for East Asia and Pacific. Again, he in fact is one of the American diplomats I respect most, but at the same time, to my great fortune, Ambassador Sher is a great champion of relationship between Korea and United States. Thank you so much, Ambassador Sher, for being this man. Last but not the least, there is Yumi Hogan, who is the First Lady of State of Maryland. It was just 2 days ago that Governor Hogan gave a press conference, and in the press conference, Governor Hogan told about something called lymphonia, from which he is fighting with much valor, but at the same time, he made it clear that he will continue to work for the service of citizens of the state of Maryland, and he said all of it in such good humor. So it is not surprising that yesterday, when I opened the Washington Post, there was an editorial, and in the editorial, there was all very strong praise and support for this candor of Governor Hogan, and this courage of Governor Hogan, and good humor of Governor Hogan. And then when I first learned of the news, I said to myself, maybe we are not going to have the pleasure and honor of having the First Lady. But there is Yumi, which speaks a lot about the same character she is sharing with her husband, which is courage, leadership, and high spirit. So thank you so much, Yumi, for being here this morning. And I think you should be joining me in giving her a great applause as a show of our solidarity to Governor Hogan and Yumi at this very important time.
감사합니다, 대사님. 다음은 한국전 참전용사협회 키나드 회장님의 기념사가 있겠습니다.
Thank you, Ambassador An. Ladies and gentlemen, it is my honor at this time to introduce you President of Korean War Veterans Association, Larry Kinnard. Please welcome President Kinnard.
Good morning to you. As Ambassador An said, what a beautiful day. A beautiful day it is, and it's an honor for me and very humbling to appear before you and speak on behalf of the Korean War veterans. I'd like to mention one thing in the beginning. humbling to all of us veterans for the appreciation we receive from the South Korean people. This morning I received an email opened by iPhone, and there was an email from a young teacher in South Korea that said again, thank you for what you did. So I hope today that I can speak to you a little on behalf of the Korean War veterans in honor of what we did there and how we feel about what was done there. Ambassador Ahn, General Shin, and other dignitaries and my fellow Korean veterans, this is a day that we remember. It's hard to come to this day for any of us without remembering what happened on June 25th, 1950. 65 years ago, and as we all say, a lot of water is under the bridge since that time. But we remember very distinctly that your country was attacked. You were put on the defensive. You had to defend yourself against an invader that was there to take away your rights, your way of life, and all of your freedoms. History books today and all of those who served there have said over and over again what happened since that day. But you know, thinking about it in today's time, it reminds me of what's happening today. We have countries in peril, but why is it that other countries are not going to their aid like we did in 1950? I think the bigger question may be today, why would 21 nations 65 years ago so willingly give of their resources and young people to run to the aid of Korea? Have you thought about that in the light of what's happening today? I think the answer is basically that we all yearn, our spirit yearns to live in a free environment. And certainly that environment is what we feel and love today in our country, and we hope others would be able to do the same. South Korea has shown us what can be done with energy, intelligence, and hard work. As a Korean War veteran and president of the association, I think I can speak for all of them and also for our brothers who have served since the end of the war to say that we're very proud of what we did. I continue to preach that, proud of what we did in South Korea. And I believe what happened there can serve as a lesson to the world. It was not a worthless, forgotten war, as some claim, not a waste of resources or lives, but those countries that stood together were able to plant the seeds of freedom and a free democratic society that an industrious and energetic people were able to grow and become a symbol to the world of what can be done when given a chance. I believe that it is right that we are here today to remember those who made the ultimate sacrifice and what happened that time 65 years ago, and recognize what was accomplished then and the results of a truly forgotten victory. I was glad to hear Ambassador Ahn's comments because I think our minds are running the same way. Finally, I think this day should be a day of affirmation to the courage of the South Korean people, to those United Nations countries who gave of their young people, their resources, and their arms, and finally, to all who served there, both the living and the dead. Thank you very much.
키나드 회장님 감사합니다. 다음은 미 국방부 시어 차방무부님의 기념사가 있겠습니다.
Thank you, President Kennard. Ladies and gentlemen, let me introduce you, Assistant Secretary of Defense, David Scheer. Please welcome Mr. Scheer.
Thank you very much, Ambassador Ein, Senator Sullivan, Mr. Kennard, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, and most of all, veterans. The great nation of the Republic of Korea is one of the world's wealthiest nations.